You have to check out this giant perler I finished. This one is up there rivaling the Evolution Perler Bead design that I did not too long ago. This Ninetails family Pokemon Perler Bead design is about half the length of the Evolution Perler that I did. However, this one is a lot taller, and it actually took me more time to do this one than that one. One of the things I absolutely loved about making this perler design is that all of the Vulpixes are unique. The larger Vulpixes are from Generation 2 through 5, whereas the baby Vulpix is from the Mystery Dungeon games. I never played those, but I thought it was really cool to have that in the middle. The normal Ninetails on the left side of the perler is from Black and White, which is Generation 5. The shiny Ninetails comes from Diamond and Pearl, which is Generation 4. So I've got almost a timeline of different sprites that I used for this entire design, which is insanely cool. One of the other ideas that I had for a large perler design was to take every single different sprite of one Pokemon and then make a huge perler out of it. I think that would be insanely cool, so tell me down in the comments real quick which Pokemon you think I should pick. But the catch is, it's gotta be a Pokemon that's probably from the older generations, because then there's gonna be multiple iterations. But back to the Ninetails Pokemon Perler Bead design here. This whole project took me about 28 hours, which was actually longer than my Evolution Perler, if you can believe it. That one took me about 25 hours. I also ended up using about 47 different colors to make all of these sprites in one image. Thankfully though, a big bulk of these colors were colors that I had a lot of, like apricot and honey and butterscotch. So I was definitely prepared to make this perler bead sprite, but I had to order a ton of beads after because I drained a lot of colors that I had. But it wasn't so bad, Perler just had a sale. One thing though that I don't think I've mentioned on this channel is that when you're going to take your perler off of these pegboards, try to remove out the ones that are just barely overhanging like you see me doing here, because the bead should already be stuck to your tape, so there's not going to be a problem taking these ones off the edges. The other part of the advice that I want to share is rotating your perler so that you can lift it off in the easiest way possible. The Vulpix Ninetails family perler that I have here has one side that's pretty flat and the other side is all curvy. It can make it significantly easier if you rotate it and you lift on the straight edge side. That way when you lift it, all the pieces that are oddly shaped are going to be the last thing to come off the board and they're not going to affect your flip. It also just helps to hold the perler. One straight edge is easier than a bunch of wavy cut out pieces. So you can see me here grabbing each side of the flat edge of the perler and lifting it from there. It comes off super smooth and that bottom edge is never going to be a problem. Then once you get the whole perler off the pegboards, you just lay it down flat. Most of the time, if you've gotten this far and you've pressed the beads onto the tape and the tape is slightly overlapping, it should never come apart. However, if you miss some of the beads, it's not that big of a deal to fix them, because generally it's just a couple and not like half the perler. Do you see that sweet spin move? But as my iron is heating up, I'm gonna get a little parchment paper and make sure this is fully covered. Sometimes when you make Pokemon Perler Bead designs, they're too big and you have to use multiple pieces, which is totally fine. You just have to remember that going over those spots, the paper might slide around a little bit, so you gotta be careful. You'll see that happening in these next clips here in a second, but I had to grab a second piece just to cover the top. One of the things that I like to do when I have multiple pieces of parchment paper is I put my heat press right on the spot where they kind of meet. That'll melt those beads first and help them adhere a little bit to the parchment paper so it doesn't slide around like you're seeing here. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt when it doesn't stick properly. So you just give those spots a little extra love, and as you're melting the perler, you want to iron out those creases and little wrinkles in the paper, because that gets transferred into your perler and you don't really want that. Or you know, maybe you do. You do you. But the one thing I can't stress enough is take your time with melts. Whether you lightly melt one side and flip it and then melt the other, you gotta take your time. It'll just make a better perler in the end. But oh man, look at that melt. It looks so good. It took a long time to melt this one because I really wanted to close all of the beads and get a perfect pixelated look, and I think I got it. This is such a cool perler to me, and I love how big it is and it's the whole family. Got a little trio of Magikarp cameo here in the background. You also can't tell from this video that this tape was really on the perler. I think it took me like 7 minutes just to pull all this tape off. You can see how slow it is. But this is a really cool part, because once the tape comes off, this perler is officially done and ready to ship out. Or you know, put up on the Pokemon Perler Bead wall. But thank you for watching my video. Go subscribe to my account for more Pokemon Perler Bead content, and make sure you answer my question that I posed in the beginning of this video. But the main thing I want to mention is happy birthday, Katie. I hope you love this perler because I really enjoyed making it. Okay, bye!